In the shadows of North American folklore, a curious creature lurks, one whose existence blurs the lines between reality and myth. The Loveland Frogman, an enigmatic figure reported by countless witnesses, leaves us questioning not just what we see, but what lies beneath the surface of our understanding. The Loveland Frogman, on the shores of silent rivers and dimly lit roads, one of the strangest and most persistent creatures of North American folklore, was born. Unlike giant monsters or shadowy entities, the Frogman draws attention precisely because of its absurd appearance, almost impossible, but reported seriously by those who claim to have seen it. The story begins on tranquil nights, when drivers traveled along roads near flooded areas and old bridges. In more than one account, the scene is similar. A humanoid figure appears near the road or at the riverbank. It stands low, between 3 and 5 feet tall, with greenish or grayish skin, wet and shiny appearance. The face resembles that of a frog, with large, bulging eyes, a wide mouth, and amphibious features. The body, however, is clearly human, with arms, legs, and an upright posture. The encounter usually lasts a few seconds, but it is enough to cause shock and confusion. Witnesses describe the creature looking directly at the observer, as if it were aware and assessing who sees it. In some accounts, the Frogman appears to be holding something in its hands, an object that resembles a wand, a staff, or even an unknown instrument. In others, it simply remains still before moving toward the water and disappearing. What makes the Loveland Frogman so intriguing is the amount of consistent detail in the accounts, even separated by decades. Different people, in distinct times, describe practically the same creature in the same type of environment. It is not a distant shadow or an undefined outline, but something seen up close, with a clear form and distinctive behavior. Over the years, various theories have emerged to explain the origin of the Frogman. One of the most popular suggests that it is a mutant creature, a result of ancient scientific experiments or improper disposal of chemicals in rivers. The notion that contaminated water could have generated a hybrid form of life between human and amphibian feeds the imagination and connects the monster to the fear of human interference in nature. Another interpretation points to an unknown creature, a yet undocumented species that would have adapted to life near humans without being officially discovered. Some believe that the Frogman is a survivor of an ancient lineage, a being that evolved parallel to humanity, hiding in isolated areas to avoid direct contact. There are also more symbolic and folkloric interpretations. For some, the Frogman represents the fear of the unknown inhabiting border regions, neither entirely land nor entirely water. It appears in places of transition, bridges, shores, empty roads, reinforcing the idea that certain mysteries arise precisely where two worlds meet. Despite its strange appearance, the Loveland Frogman is rarely described as aggressive. There are no clear accounts of attacks or prolonged chases. The fear comes from the unexpected, from the breaking of logic. Seeing something that should not exist, that does not fit into any known category, provokes a kind of silent terror, different from immediate panic. Time has passed, the city has changed, roads have been modernized, but the story has not disappeared. On the contrary, the Frogman has become part of the local identity, mentioned in conversations, recalled in nighttime stories, and treated with a mix of humor, respect, and discomfort. For some, it is just a curious legend. For others, it is something real that continues to watch from a distance. Perhaps the greatest mystery of the Loveland Frogman is not its appearance, but its behavior. It does not seek attention, does not leave evidence, does not try to communicate. It appears, is seen, and then departs, as if the encounter were accidental, as if the real mistake was the human being there at that moment. And so, amidst dark rivers and empty roads, the legend remains alive. Because as long as there are places where light fails, water flows silently, and the night seems too long, there will always be a sense that something is watching from the other side. Something low, motionless, with eyes too large to be ignored. What you saw is only part of the story. To stay up to date on upcoming facts, mysteries, and revelations, like, subscribe, and follow our channel.